जाएगा सर।
हाँ हाँ, ठीक है, अभी प्रॉपरली विजिबल होगा।
यस सर, वी कैन सी।
ओके, so good evening to all of you. Today we are discussing our first
Good evening,
chapter,
sir.
that is regionalism and globalization. So to start with, let us take a quick recap for 20th century international politics. Uh, as we all of, as we all know that we had two great world war in the international scenario in 20th century. The first world war started in 1914, which ended in 1918. That lasted for 4 years, and we had another second world war that started in 1939 and ended in 1945. So the period which falls between the two world war is known as interwar period. Similarly, after the end of second world war, we had another era that denote the tension in global politics. The era or the period is known as cold war period. And when we minutely observe the scenario after the second world war, particularly that denotes cold war period, we identify that there was a global tension across the region, across the continents in the world. In the second world war, two superpowers won their won in the second world war. The first was US and the another one was USSR. After the end of second world war, both of these superpowers tried to attain supremacy in the global politics. This caused resumption of cold war, and with the cold war period there was polarization in the global politics. This polarization denotes that there was a group led by US that proposed capitalism or democracy, and there was another group that was proposed or that was supported by USSR, which advocates communism and socialism. So with such polarization in global politics, we can see that the world was going through a huge tension, and both of these superpowers tried to control the global politics. They tried to convince the nations in third world. Similarly, when the second world war was ended, there was foundation or there was a formation of global organization or international organization, which is popularly known as United Nations. So in today's context, we have to focus on the formation of United Nations as an international organization and subsequent changes in the global politics. See, the formation of United Nations as an international organization is an example that people are believing that all issues can be resolved peacefully and at international level. The entire world was believing that conflict can be resolved peacefully. But there were certain lacunas in United Nations as an international organization. United Nations as an international organization was governed with the help of General Assembly and Security Council. Security Council is a powerful body of United Nations which comprises 5 superpowers. In the Cold War period, US and USSR, which were also the member of Security Council, they started to use United Nations as their puppet. So, due to which United Nations was a platform to the for the contestation between United States and USSR, due to which many third world countries like India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, African countries, and some Latin American countries, they started to believe that United Nations cannot be their platform to resolve their regional issues. Due to which these countries started to form their own regional organizations. Means regional organization is a solution to resolve regional issues at regional level. In that context, we identify two different tendencies in international politics. There is a tendency for regionalism and there is a tendency for globalization. Globalization in today's context or in present chapter's context denote that issues which can be resolved at international level or global level. So United Nations is an example of globalized politics, and regionalism which we are discussing today involves certain regional organizations like African Union, Arab League, and Mercosur. So these three organizations are the component of today's lecture. So before going further, let us know why we have regional organization in international politics. So there are four key reasons for the formation of any regional organization in global politics. The first reason is that there are certain security concerns among regional players or regional actors, which may involve terrorism, border disputes, regional conflict, or the need for a stability. For these issues, many regional actors form a regional organization as a solution for collective security. When we minutely observe the Cold War politics or Cold War period, there were certain organizations which particularly were formed for the security purpose. Similarly, there is a need for economic integration, and regional organizations act as best solution to integrate economy. In that context, we can find there are certain trade agreements, there are certain customs union, or there are few common markets that denote regional organization. So economic integration is another reason for regional integration or formation of regional organization. The third reason is that there is need for political cooperation. Many regional actors believe that there should be a platform for their political dialogue. There should be a platform for their conflict resolution. And due to which we have regional organizations like SAARC, ASEAN, and so on. These organizations are best example for known for their political cooperation. Apart from this, there is another reason, that is cultural and social ties. The need to form cultural and social ties is also another reason to form regional organization at regional level. Due to which many regional actors, many countries or many nations desire to have or desire to preserve their shared cultural, historical, and social ties. Due to which we have regional organizations like the Arab League or Organization of Islamic Cooperation. And apart from these, we have African Union, which is also believed to be established for the reason of cultural and social ties. So these are certain reasons or these are certain purposes for which regional organizations are established. So with this basic or fundamental understanding, we will move to our actual section, that is regional organization in international scenario. Today we are discussing three regional organizations. The first is Arab League, second one is Mercosur, and the last one is African Union. So let us start. The Arab League is an organization that chiefly involves Middle East and some African countries. This organization was founded in 1945, and in 1945 countries like Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, Syria and Yemen came together and they desired or they tried to establish Arab League as their organization. You can see in the slide we have 22 different countries which are presently the member of Arab League. So before moving further, we should know that what is the structure of Arab League. Okay. See, Arab League as an organization have four major components. The first component is that it has its own Council of the Arab League. The Council of Arab League is its principal body. It is the representative body of Arab League and it involves foreign ministers of each member country. Secondly, we have Secretariat. अजूनही आवाज डिस्टर्ब होतोय का?
आता येतोय सर.
ओके ओके, तुम्ही मला अनम्यूट करून सांगू शकता. चॅटिंग कडे लक्ष जात नाही माझं. ठीक आहे. We have General Secretariat of Arab League as another component. General Secretariat is an administrative body. Arab League has its own Secretary General and he is administrative head of the organization. Apart from this, we have some specialized ministerial councils which focus on key areas like health, economics, social affairs and so on. The last component or the last organ of Arab League is its various permanent as well as ad hoc committees. So these four components form or these four components act as major part of Arab League. With the help of this structure, Arab League functions its own mechanism. So now we are discussing about its objectives. Why the Arab League was founded or why the Arab League was established? There are 5 objectives. The first is the objective to have political coordination. Arab League as an organization aimed to strengthen relations and coordination between member states on political and security issues. See, political and security issue is major component for which Arab League was established. If we check briefly or if we check properly, all member countries in Arab League are suffering from political instability or there are certain security issues among the members. So political coordination or political cooperation was the first key objective of Arab League as an organization. Second objective is the need for economic integration and development among Arab countries. Especially, there is a need to have free trade and investment facilitation. In the following or in the subsequent slides, we will discuss about what is free trade, what are free trade areas or what are preferential trade areas. But I would like to introduce you that free trade area is a opportunity for member countries where they can reduce their taxes or their customs so that they can trade easily with each other. Got it? So economic cooperation was another objective or is another objective of Arab League. Third objective is the need to cultural collaboration. And as we all can see, all member countries have shared Arab culture and heritage. And these countries have proud feeling to preserve these cultures and these heritage. And that's why they have introduced or they have added the objective to have cultural collaboration among the members. Another objective is these members are suffering from the problems of education, health, labor, and so on. That's why they have introduced or that's why they have added the need or the policy, the framework to introduce social programs to discuss these issues. Another objective is the objective to have conflict resolution. With this, member countries are finding or they are seeking the peaceful means to resolve the conflict, like diplomacy and mediation or negotiation. These are peaceful means to resolve conflicts among the countries. So these are certain objectives for which Arab League is functioning nowadays. So what are key functions that Arab League is undergoing through? So we have elaborated these functions in 5 parts. Each function, you can take the screenshot of this slide. Each function has its sub functions or sub components. As we can see, the political and security coordination involves diplomatic relations among the members. There is a need for conflict resolution and political statement and resolution. Economic cooperation, social and cultural collaboration, social, scientific and technological cooperation, legal and administrative functions, and the last function is advocacy and representation. Each function is subdivided in its own parts. So you can take the screenshot of this slide. Now we are discussing about how the organization is successful and what are its demerits. Just a minute. I think there is a network issue. हॅलो, नेटवर्क इश्यू आहे का?
हो सर, तुमचा आवाज मध्ये मध्ये डिस्टर्ब होतोय, क्लिअर होत
डिस्टर्ब
नाही.
होत आहे का? ओके, सॉरी. नेटवर्कचा इश्यू येते इथे. ठीक आहे, पण मी माझ्या लेवलला पाठवतो तुम्हाला नंतर रेकॉर्ड करून याला व्यवस्थितपणे. इंटरप्ट करू शकता तुम्ही, मला सांगू शकता काही इश्यू असेल तर. Arab League organization has its own success and its own demerits or its own failures. So I have categorized these successes in 5 categories. The first is cultural and educational initiative. Arab League has succeeded to preserve its cultural values through the means of cultural exchange, festivals, and preservation of historical sites. Similarly, Arab League has introduced educational programs like Arab League Educational, Cultural and Scientific Organization. It is the similar concept like UNESCO. So this is educational program. Similarly, there is economic cooperation among members through Greater Arab Free Trade Area. This Free Trade Area program was introduced in 1997, and Arab League has Economic and Social Council which discusses about social and economic aspects of Arab League. It provides policy initiatives for Arab League and provides policy framework if needed. Similarly, Arab League has succeeded to provide humanitarian aid and development. During the period of natural disaster and man-made calamities, Arab League has successfully provided humanitarian aid and if needed during the period of civil wars also. So this is the successful aspect of Arab League as an organization. Similarly, Arab League has introduced various development projects which aim to infrastructural development, health and education among the member countries. Apart from this, as we all know, many member countries in the Arab League are struggling with their political instability. In such scenario, Arab League has succeeded to provide political mediation and peace initiatives. There were certain instances when there were the cases of civil war or there were some cases of war among the neighboring countries. In such scenario, Arab League succeeded as an organization. Apart from this, in the case of Yemeni crisis, Arab League provided successfully mediation among the contesting parties. So these are certain aspects where Arab League succeeded as an organization. But there are certain failure as an organization for Arab League. The first failure in that case is Arab League has failed to provide resolution, or it failed to resolve the conflict between in the Syrian civil war and in the case of Libyan crisis. In both these scenarios, Arab League as an organization has failed to resolve these major conflicts. Similarly, there is political disunity, or there is no unity among the member countries in Arab League. We can see that all member countries have their own policies and their own framework, and there is no unity so that they can introduce or they can frame a grand policy as an organization. So this is another failure, or this is another reason why Arab League has failed as an organization. Likewise, there is another major failure as an organization is Arab League has failed to create its huge influence in global stage. As we can see that many member countries in Arab League have become marginalized in global scenario. At various platforms like United Nations or World Trade Organization or IMF, these organizations or these members in the organization have become marginalized just because of Arab League has failed as an grand organization or as a regional organization. They failed to represent themselves as a major group in the region. Similarly, Arab League has weak enforcement mechanism. See, Arab League has provided certain successful programs and certain successful policies. However, these programs and policies failed just because of there was not powerful mechanism. Another reason for the failure is there are challenges to have economic integration. See, free trade area is a early part of economic integration. Many regional organizations have transcended themselves to the upper level, but still Arab League is lagging behind. There are certain political and economic disparities among the members. There are certain bureaucratic issues. That's why Arab League has failed to integrate its members with itself as an economic mechanism. Apart from this, many Arab countries are undergoing through human right violation problems. In this case, Arab League has failed to offer successful or offer a good example so that how human rights can be safeguarded. That is the key issue in Arab countries. Similarly, Arab League as an organization has failed because of its lack of transparency, lack of accountability, and there is no effective governance structure, due to which Arab League cannot organize periodic meetings, or it cannot provide best mechanism in the case of regional cooperation. So these are certain success and failures of Arab League as an organization. But when we take Indo-centric view, or when we discuss in context of India and Arab League, we can find there are certain key successful aspects or key highlights that denote that India and Arab League have good relations among themselves. So we are discussing how India and Arab League have evolved their relations with each other. So we can say that India and Arab League have four aspects where they have good cooperation. There is a historical tie. We have historical ties with Arab League members. Since colonial period, India has its relations with many Arab countries, including Palestine, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and so on. With all these countries, India has best historical relations. After the independence, India has maintained its relations with Palestine, Saudi, Kuwait, and so on. So these countries have show that we have best historical relations with these countries. So This is a best example that India and Arab League are doing better with each other. Secondly, we have better economic cooperation with Arab League. The economic cooperation can be bifurcated in two parts. We have best trade relations and we have investment relations with Arab League. In context of trade relations, India's trade with Arab League has exceeded or it has multiplied in last decade. So we import crude oil basically from Arab countries. Similarly, we export machineries, textiles, and agricultural products to Arab League. We have investment in Arab League, and Arab League members also have invested in India. So there is fair exchange of trade and fair exchange of investment among India and Arab League. Similarly, the relations with Arab League provide energy security to India and Arab League. Arab League, as a key exporter of crude oil, has offered quite better energy security for India. Apart from this, there is a geopolitical and strategic interest for India in Arab League or Middle East area. India is the founding member which supported Palestine since 1947. We have supported the need or we have supported the formation of Palestine as an independent nation. And we never supported or we always demanded that there should be peaceful resolution of Arab-Israel conflict. Similarly, we have diplomatic relations with Israel since 1991. So this indicates that India has its own political, geopolitical and strategic interest in Arab League. So with this, we can sum up that Arab League is a successful organization that represents Middle East and some African countries. And similarly, Arab League has better relations with India. So with this, we will move to our next organization, that is Mercosur. Mercosur is a regional organization that falls in the area of Latin America. Latin American countries, which involves Argentina, Mexico, Chile, Bolivia, Suriname, and so on. So these countries are popularly known as Latin American countries. This example of regional organization is South-South cooperation. In international politics or in political science, we have North and South as independent concept. These concepts are not geographical in nature. So when we discuss in international politics, North represents developed countries, but similarly, South represents undeveloped countries. So this does not mean that North indicates in the north direction or South indicates the south direction. It is the developmental bifurcation. North means developed countries, South means underdeveloped or undeveloped countries. So Mercosur is an example of South-South cooperation. Countries which are undeveloped or countries which are underdeveloped, they are cooperating with each other. So how Mercosur was formed or what is actually Mercosur? See, Mercosur is Southern Common Market. It is also known as Southern Common Market. What is Southern Common Market? See, there are certain regional trade blocks in the world which can be categorized in these parts which are displayed in the screen. We have preferential trade area, we have free trade area, we have some customs union, some common market, some economic and monetary union, and lastly we have political union. So these are the types of regional organization which were established for the purpose of economic cooperation. Mercosur is an example of organization that was founded or that was established for the economic cooperation. So many countries start to communicate or many countries start to cooperate with each other on certain areas which are preferably denoted or listed. There is cooperation for particular product. particular service. This is an example of preferential trade area. Such cooperation hierarchically moves forward, and we have later on free trade area. Free trade area progresses to customs union. It progresses to common market. So this is
सर तुमची
hierarchical.
सर
Yes,
तुमची स्क्रीन दिसत नाही. स्क्रीन तुमची
नाही
नाही
दिसत.
दिसत आहे. बंद झाली.
Okay,
नाही
okay.
बंद झाली.
Just a minute. सॉरी, नेटवर्कचा इश्यू असल्यामुळे होते. सॉरी.
आता दिसते ती.
ओके, थँक्यू.
थँक्यू सर.
ओके, तर these free trade areas are later progressed or later advanced to another stage, which are customs union, common market, economic and monetary union, and political union. Mercosur is an example of common market. How it was evolved, why it was evolved, these are certain issues or these are certain aspects we need to focus. So what is Mercosur? Mercosur is an organization that was founded for the common market in the Latin America. See, you can see there are 5 countries which are state parties: Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, and Uruguay, and last one is Venezuela. These founding members came together in 1991 and they established Mercosur as an organization. Today, Venezuela is not the party of organization. Its membership has been cancelled. Got it? So today we just have 4 state parties and there are certain associate parties or associate states which involves Bolivia, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Guyana, Peru, and Suriname. All these countries are Latin American countries or South American countries. The purpose or the objective or the reason for the formation of Mercosur was there should be free trade and fluid movements. What is fluid movements? That there should be no barrier, there should be no restriction for the movement of goods, people, and currency. See, we have an example of European Union and we have another example of Mercosur. Both of these organizations are free trade area. They have common markets. If we check properly, all these member countries can trade with each other. They don't have much trade barriers. In this context, Argentina can export its corn or its wheat to its neighboring countries with no or less trade barriers. They don't have to levy or they don't have to pay much taxes or customs. So this is the facility that is provided by common market. In common market, there is no competition or there is very less competition. In common market, there is less trade barrier. In common market, we have less amount of taxes. So that is facility offered by common market. In this context, Mercosur was established in 1991 with the help of Treaty of Ascension, and it was later evolved or it was later developed through the Treaty of Oro Preto. So these 2 treaties or these 2 documents act as major component for the Mercosur. These treaties provided an atmosphere for common market. See, there are 2 words which are important: common market and integration of economies. So these 2 aspects are more important. With context to Mercosur, Mercosur has created a common market to its product and it has integrated the economies. Now, Mercosur has its own objectives for which it was established. There are 4 objectives. The first objective is economic integration. Economic integration means there is a tendency or there is a desire to create a common market. What it provides? Common market provides free circulation of goods and services and free circulation of product and factors in the member countries. Free circulation means there won't be barrier. It will be hassle-proof trade, hassle-free trade. So it is the facility or it is the merit of common market. With economic integration, you can achieve that. Another objective is to secure trade promotion. With trade promotion, Mercosur has desired or it has objective to enhance and facilitate trade and economic cooperation between the member countries. So it has reduced trade and economic barriers. Another objective is political cooperation. Many Latin American countries, even today, are going through civil wars. These countries have political instability. These countries are running through authoritarian government or non-democratic government. That's why Mercosur is attempting to develop political cooperation among member countries so that they can emerge as growing economies. So economy and polity are interrelated aspects. If there is political stability, only then the country can secure economically. So political cooperation is its third objective. And the last objective is social and cultural integration. Social and cultural integration denote that there should be closer social and cultural ties among the members. So each objective represents that the trade is primary objective, and with the evolution of trade, all member countries will transcend itself to political union, as we had discussed in earlier slide. So these are certain objectives of Mercosur as an organization. How Mercosur actually functions, or what Mercosur has its own structure. See, there are 5 components of Mercosur as an organization. There is Common Market Council, that is popularly known as CMC. There is Common Market Group. There is Mercosur Trade Commission. We have Parliament of Mercosur, and there is Administrative Secretariat. Each part forms key component, or each part forms key component for the governance of organization. The Common Market Council is highest decision making body. It is administrative in nature, and all member countries have their representative who are foreign minister or economic minister. These foreign minister or economic minister are the members of Common Market Council. The Common Market Group is another body that ensures how the objectives of Mercosur can be met. Similarly, the Mercosur Trade Commission, it is the body which monitors and implements common trade policies and regulations. All member countries should dedicatedly work so that common trade can be attained properly. We will discuss there are certain issues in the Mercosur which are restricting the Mercosur Trade Commission. Similarly, Parliament of Mercosur is another body which is advisory in nature, and it aims to represent the members and citizens of the Mercosur. And the last body is Administrative Secretariat, which is administrative in nature, and it supports through administrative staff. It provides documentation, it provides the record keeping facility to Mercosur. So with this, Mercosur has evolved as a successful common market group in Latin America. So it does have its own success aspects. The first one is trade expansion. Trade expansion means in Mercosur, there is a regional trade growth. All member countries with the formation of Mercosur have boosted their trade among each other. Prior to this, all member countries were implementing the protectionist market. No country was willing to expand their market, or no country was willing to open their market for other countries. But with the help of Mercosur, these member countries have opened their market, and have lessened the trade barriers that has resulted in trade growth. Similarly, there is an elimination of tariff between the member countries. The tariff acts as an hurdle between the bilateral trade. Many times, the production of a particular good or a particular service in a country can be a need for another country. But if the country levies maximum tariff, in that case, the good or the service becomes expensive for another country. That's why Mercosur has reduced or eliminated the tariff among the member countries. Mercosur has succeeded to evolve as an organization for the economic integration. Mercosur has established customs union and it has drafted several economic agreements. With this, many member countries are uh, many member countries are evolving their economic cooperation. Similarly, Mercosur has succeeded in the context of political and social cooperation. The group has or the bloc has facilitated political dialogue among the member countries. Member countries like Mexico, Chile, Guyana are undergoing through political chaos. As we have seen earlier, Venezuela is a country which is authoritarian in nature. As a part of founding member, Mercosur provided an opportunity to discuss authoritarian government so that they can provide democratic model to people. However, Venezuela denied to introduce democracy in its country, and due to which Mercosur rejected its membership. Later on, the membership was rejected in 2016. So, Mercosur is a political platform for member countries for their political problems. Similarly, it has launched many social programs which involve education, healthcare, and social welfare among the member countries. Another merit or another successful aspect of Mercosur is that it has established its own institution, regional organization which has its proper mechanism in the form of institution provides a stability. There are many organizations who don't have their own mechanism or the mechanism is poor in nature. In such cases, the organization fails to act just because of it does not have its bureaucratic setup. Mercosur has established, it has evolved its own institutional mechanism. This has provided some sort of stability for Mercosur as an organization, as a regional economic bloc. Apart from this, Mercosur has succeeded to evolve its own geopolitical presence. As we discussed about Arab League in prior session or prior part, Arab League was failed to evolve as an organization at international level. But on the other hand, Mercosur has developed its own regional influence. It has provided that all great powers cannot deny the presence of Mercosur as a regional organization. They have to accept its economic might. They have to accept its geopolitical might. That's why many greater countries or many big countries are investing in Mercosur. So this is the success or this is an achievement of Mercosur as a regional trade bloc. However, Mercosur has failed in some aspect. There are certain factors where Mercosur has failed to evolve. The first factor is there is economic disparity and there is economic imbalance in the member countries. And as an economic organization, Mercosur has failed to evolve as an equalitarian or egalitarian organization that can provide stability among the member, that can provide economic balance among the member. There are certain countries like Brazil and Argentina which gain or which get maximum benefit from Mercosur, while there are countries like Paraguay and Uruguay who get less benefit. So that is the issue where Mercosur has failed. Another issue is that there is continuous political instability in the region and there are continuous political tensions. So the example of suspension of Venezuela as a member denote that Mercosur has failed as an organization to integrate its member. Similarly, all member countries have their own initiatives, have their own programs which do not match with Mercosur. And that's why there is political disagreements among the member countries. That is another reason for the failure of Mercosur. The third reason is there are, despite of economic cooperation among the members, there are certain trade barriers and there is still prevailing protectionism in the member countries. Many aspects which denote that Mercosur is still implementing tariff barriers. There are some aspects which are non-tariff barriers, like there are bureaucratic hurdles, there are custom procedures. All these factors impact heavily on the trade, on the investment in the member countries. So these issues should be addressed properly. There is the policy of protectionism in member countries. Many member countries are not willing to open their market, or many member countries are still providing subsidies, or they are still charging heavy taxes for the import. So this causes a protectionism in the member countries and it is a setback or it is a deadlock for the Mercosur. Another failure for the Mercosur is that there is institutional weakness. Mercosur has failed as an institution just because of there is inefficient decision making and there are limited supranational authorities. Supranational authorities means authorities which transcends the border, which goes beyond the border. So these are certain institutional level failures in the Mercosur. Similarly, the integration that has been developed by Mercosur is limited in nature. And there are certain areas in economic cooperation which are still unaddressed, which are not addressed properly. The growth or the speed for the progress in economic integration is very slow and it is very pathetic in nature. That's why Mercosur has failed to develop its political integration. So these are certain issues, these are certain failures of Mercosur as an organization. However, when we take the Indo-centric aspect or when we discuss the Indo-centric aspect with the Mercosur, how India has dealt with Mercosur, we can take another picture, that is we have better relations with Mercosur as a free trade area. India has relations with Mercosur in context of trade and economic cooperation, and we have relations in context of diplomatic and strategic engagement. When we discuss about trade and economic cooperation, we have developed preferential trade area, which means we have listed certain items of goods and services where we have reduced maximum tariff. The list is limited. That's why it is known as preferential trade area. But it is a sign that India is entered into new trade regime with Mercosur. That is a good sign. Another factor is that the trade volume or the ratio of trade between India and Mercosur has rapidly developed, or it has increased in last decade. So that is another best example since 2004. India has export of pharmaceutical, chemical, machinery, textile and automobiles to Mercosur countries. We had COVID vaccine diplomacy or vaccine diplomacy with Latin America in COVID-19 period. Similarly, India imports several products like edible oil, sugar, minerals, and agricultural products from these Mercosur countries. So that is trade and economic cooperation with India among India and Mercosur. Similarly, we have diplomatic and strategic engagement with these countries. There are several diplomatic visits, there are several bilateral agreements, and there are multilateral cooperation with these countries. So these are the sign of diplomatic engagement between the member countries. Another aspect which I had discussed earlier is South-South cooperation. India is the member of non-aligned movement, founding member of non-aligned movement. India forms a union, or India forms a ally of those countries which are developing in nature, which are underdeveloped in nature, and it is trying to overthrow the monopoly of developed countries through South-South cooperation. India is developing cooperation with South countries, South-South cooperation. This is an example of South-South cooperation. So India and Mercosur have fair trade or fair relations with each other. So with this, we are moving to our third discussion, that is African Union. So African Union is an organization which is continental in nature. It covers nearly 55 member states from Africa. And the organization was established in 2002. However, it is not new in nature. Prior to this, we had Organization of African Unity that was established in 1963. The Organization of African Unity was a failed organization, and later it was changed, or it was replaced with African Union in 2002. The basic purpose or the basic objective of African Union is promotion of unity, peace, and economic development among the member countries and African continent. So these are certain aspects or introductory aspects of African Union as an organization. African Union as an organization provides 6 objectives. The first objective is to defend the sovereignty, territorial integrity, and independence of its member states. Second objective provides that there should be accelerated political and economic integration in the continent. Similarly, third objective provides there should be promotion of peace, security, stability in the African continent. Fourth objective denotes that there should be promotion of democratic principles, institutions, and popular participation as well as good governance. Fifth objective is about promotion and protection of human and people's rights, so that African Charter on human and people's rights and other relevant human rights instrument can be introduced and can be exercised properly. Last objective is about to achieve greater unity and solidarity between African countries and the people of Africa. So these are 6 objectives where African Union provides an example that there is a dire need to establish democracy or democratic setup in Africa. There is dire need to defend sovereignty. There is dire need to defend their cultural and social identity. So Africa is a continent where diversity of culture, where diversity of religion exists. So in this context, there are several countries in Africa which are still politically unstable in nature. Many countries in Africa fall in the category of failed states. So despite of this, we have African Union as an organization which tries to establish unity and solidarity among the members, and its major objective or its major purpose is preservation of culture, preservation of social values, and preservation of sovereignty of member countries. So these are certain objectives where African Union has evolved, where member countries can attain their political and cultural objectives. So with this, we can say that African Union is an organization where several structures and where several components are working to evolve to run the mechanism of African Union. African Union has its own Assembly of African Union, which is a prototype of parliament. There is an Executive Council, there is Peace and Security Council, there is Pan-African Parliament, that is the larger framework of parliament. There is African Court on Human Rights, there are African Union Commissions, and there is last one, Economic, Social and Cultural Council. All these parts, all these structures aim or function for the stability of African Union. So these are structures. With this, we are going to focus on certain achievements of African Union as an organization. There are 4 achievements where African Union has succeeded as an organization. The first is peace and security initiatives. African Union has succeeded to resolve various conflicts in the region, like the issues in Sudan, Somalia and Mali were successfully handled by African Union through its peacekeeping missions. For the security purpose, African Union has developed its own standby force, that is African Standby Force. With the help of this standby force, African Union can deploy its army to the area where a crisis is undergoing. So these are major two initiatives through which peace and security can be introduced. Similarly, African Union has succeeded in the context of economic development through its Agenda 2063 and Continental Free Trade Area. So these 2 aspects denote that African Union is doing well in economic aspect also. Another aspect is that African Union is trying to maintain democracy and trying to maintain good governance in member countries. Democracy is an assurance of free and fair participation of citizens in the governance. There is a popular political theorist, Michael Doyle, who has said that democracies do not fight with each other, which means democratic countries do not go to war with each other. Democracy is an example, or democracy is an assurance of peace. That's why African Union is demanding establishment of democracy in all African countries. Then African Union is doing well in the context of public health also. There is Africa Center for Disease Control and Prevention, which aims to provide health related facilities in context of HIV/AIDS, in context of COVID-19 and Ebola and some other pandemic situations. So in these aspects, African Union has succeeded as an regional organization. However, there are certain issues where African Union is going through challenges. The first challenge for the African Union as an organization is there is continuous political instability and there are several issues of conflict among the member countries. Even today, many African countries have their own racial as well as border related conflict. These conflicts are hampering the political stability in those areas. Similarly, the peacekeeping operations offer the temporary solution for the conflict. With the withdrawal of peacekeeping operation, many times the civil war or the conflict restarts or it resumes as soon as peacekeeping forces withdraw. So political instability and conflict are the major challenges for African Union. Similarly, Africa as a continent provides various examples of economic diversity, rather than we can say that it is economic inequality. Many countries are doing well in context of economy. However, several countries are still under the category of undeveloped countries. So there is economic inequality in African Union members. Also, many member countries are still today depending on trade and aid or aid and loan structure. As we had discussed, as we had seen in various media, China is implementing debt or it is providing loan as a trap. Many African countries are in the trap of China, as China is offering long-term debt, long-term loans which cannot be met or which cannot be completed within the given time. Such economic dependency has hampered economic disparity, or it has accelerated the economic disparity in the Africa. The institutional capacity of African Union is very limited. There are resource constraints and there is coordination issue in the African Union. That's why African Union is not doing well in recent past. Also, there are issues of human rights and governance in Africa as a continent. Several human right violation issues are going in the African Union member countries. So these are certain challenges where African Union has to tackle and where member countries have to come together so that they can resolve the issue. In these contexts, African Union has to do quite better, and its objectives like Africa 2063 are remote even today. However, when we discuss about India's relations with African Union, we can see that India has close relations or close ties with African countries. Even prior to independence, India had good relations with many African countries like South Africa. Many freedom fighters in India had their abode or they were residing in African countries. For example, Mahatma Gandhi had spent early period of his career in South Africa. With the independence, India maintained its relationship with underdeveloped countries and less developed countries through the help of non-aligned movement. And in non-aligned movement, nearly all countries in Africa where the membership had their membership. So India has close relations with Africa and African Union too. In context of African Union, India has diplomatic engagement through India-Africa Forum Summit. So IAFS, that is India-Africa Forum Summit, was developed in 2008 and it provides high-level participation. That is participation by heads of the state like President and Prime Minister. All the member countries represent with the help of their President and Prime Minister in all meetings and summits so that issues and problems and programs can be effectively implemented. India has close economic cooperation with African Union in context of trade and investment. Similarly, India has development cooperation as India has provided line of credit. Line of credit is a facility that offers short-term loans to member countries. India has enabled line of credit to many African Union countries so that they can develop themselves. Apart from this, many institutions or many centers in India are providing capacity building and technical assistance to bureaucrats or technocrats in African Union countries. With the help of ITEC and Pan-African E-Network project, India has provided its expertise, its knowledge to African countries. Similarly, India has political and security cooperation through its peacekeeping operations. India has larger participation in peacekeeping operation, and India has enabled counter-terrorism and security cooperation. The problem of piracy, the problem of terrorism are handled with the help of Indian Navy in Indian Ocean and particularly with African countries. India is best or reliable source in the context of counter-terrorism. Similarly, India and African Union have cultural as well as educational exchanges. We have cultural diplomacy with Africa. We have educational initiatives with Africa. So with this, India has fair relations with African Union and all these countries. So Africa or Latin America or Middle East, all these parts represent the third world. And India, being a major part in the third world, had actively participated in those areas. Even though in post-Cold War period, even today, India is gaining momentum in these areas. So India's relations with these organizations, that is Arab League, Mercosur, and African Union, is an example that regionalism and multilateralism is accelerating in present scenario. So with this, I would like to sum up myself. If there are any issues, do discuss. You can talk or you can send the messages if needed. Mr. Rakesh, काही अडचण असेल तर सांगू शकता.
सर मर्क्युरी सर अपयशाचं थोडंसं मराठीमध्ये एक्सप्लेन करू शकता का थोडंसं ओव्हरव्ह्यू?
ओके, एकच सेकंड. बघा, मर्क्युसर संघटना जी आहे ही लॅटिन अमेरिकेतल्या देशांची संघटना आहे आणि या संघटनेमध्ये त्यांचा जो पर्पज स्थापनेमागचा होता तो होता आर्थिक ऐक्य स्थापन करणे. इंटिग्रेशन याचा अर्थ आहे ऐक्य असा अर्थ होतो त्याचा. त्यांनी संघटना स्थापन करत असताना कॉमन मार्केट म्हणजे समान बाजारपेठ हे उद्दिष्ट डोळ्यासमोर ठेवलेले आहे. जर आपण आफ्रिकन युनियनचं उदाहरण घेतलं तर आफ्रिकन युनियन माफ करा, युरोपियन युनियनचं जर उदाहरण आपण डोळ्यासमोर ठेवलं, युरोपियन युनियन हे आर्थिक ऐक्याचं, इकॉनॉमिक इंटिग्रेशनचं एक चांगलं उदाहरण मानलं जातं. युरोपियन युनियन मध्ये सदस्य देशांमधला जो व्यापार आहे त्यामध्ये जकात किंवा आपण ज्याला टॅक्सेस म्हटलेले, कर जे म्हटलेले, या करांचं बंधन जवळजवळ नगण्य ठेवलेलं आहे. त्यांनी आता जकातामध्ये कुठल्याही प्रकारचं बंधन फारसं ठेवलेलं नाही. त्यासोबत युरोपियन युनियन मध्ये तुम्हाला कुठल्याही प्रकारचं ह्युमन म्हणजे माणसांचं आवागमन जे आहे, माणसांचा संचार जो आहे तो इझिली होतो. म्हणजे तुम्ही सकाळी जर समजा चहासाठी सकाळचा तुम्ही ब्रेकफास्ट जर तुम्ही एका देशात घ्यायचं ठरवलं तर तुम्ही दुपारचं जेवण आणि संध्याकाळचं जेवण यात वेगवेगळ्या देशामध्ये तुम्ही युरोपियन युनियन मध्ये घेऊ शकता. म्हणजे एक चांगलं उदाहरण आहे की जिथे माणसांसोबत वस्तूंचं आणि सेवांचं चांगल्या पद्धतीने आवागमन होतं. युरोपियन युनियन मध्ये दुसरी गोष्ट काय प्रोव्हाइड करण्यात आली की त्यांनी युरो सारखं चलन इंट्रोड्यूस केलं. म्हणजे एक चलन तुम्हाला सगळ्या सदस्य देशांमध्ये चालू शकतं. त्याच्यामुळे त्यांच्यामध्ये आर्थिक स्वरूपाचं ऐक्य स्थापन झालेलं आहे. पण याच्या तुलनेमध्ये मर्क्युसर संघटनेकडे जर तुम्ही बघितलं तर मर्क्युसर ही संघटना युरोपियन युनियन एवढी सक्सेसफुल झालेली नाहीये. त्याचे अनेक सारे कारण आहेत. त्यातले साधारणपणे 5 कारण मी तुमच्या समोर ठेवलेले. त्यातलं पहिलं कारण जे होतं आर्थिक विषमता आणि असमतोल. युरोपियन युनियन ही जी संघटना आहे या संघटनेला संघटना म्हणून स्थापन झाल्यानंतर, आर्थिक संघटना म्हणून स्थापन झाल्यानंतर त्याचा लाभ जो होता तो सगळ्यांना समप्रमाणात मिळणं अपेक्षित होतं. पण तसं झालेलं नाहीये. ब्राझील, अर्जेंटिना सारखे देश त्याचा जास्त लाभ घेऊ शकतात कारण या डेव्हलप कंट्रीज आहेत. जर आपण जगाच्या मॅपवर बघितलं तर इंडोनेशिया असेल, भारत असेल, चीन असेल, दक्षिण आफ्रिका असेल, मेक्सिको असेल, अर्जेंटिना असेल, ह्या उगवत्या महासत्ता आहेत. या देशांनी विशेषतः लॅटिन अमेरिकेतल्या ब्राझील, अर्जेंटिना सारख्या देशांनी मर्क्युसरचा जास्त लाभ घेतला. पण पॅराग्वे, उरुग्वे सारख्या देशांनी त्याचा लाभ घेतला नाही. याचं कारण तिथल्या आर्थिक बाबतीमध्ये त्यांच्या त्या देशांनी घेतलेले धोरणांमधले जे दोष आहेत हे त्याला कारणीभूत ठरले. त्याचप्रमाणे या सगळ्या सदस्य देशांमध्ये राजकीय असमतोल हा एक फार मोठा प्रॉब्लेम आहे. म्हणजे वारंवार होणारी यादवी युद्ध असतील, वारंवार होणारा तिथला ड्रग्सचा जो, तुम्ही जर व्यवस्थित इतिहास बघितला तर लॅटिन अमेरिकन देशांमध्ये ड्रग्सच्या माध्यमातून होणारा ट्रेड किंवा ह्युमन ट्रॅफिकिंग हे जे प्रॉब्लेम्स आहेत ते खूप मोठे आहेत. ह्या सगळ्यामुळे काय होतं, सरकार वारंवार पडत राहतं, वारंवार सरकार बदलत राहतं. ह्या सगळ्याचा परिणाम असा होतो की प्रत्येक वेळेस नवीन गव्हर्नमेंट येतं, प्रत्येक गव्हर्नमेंट काय करतं, आपल्या आपल्या पॉलिसी इम्प्लिमेंट करायला पाहते. दुसरी गोष्ट, मर्क्युसूर एक संघटना म्हणून प्रत्येक गव्हर्नमेंट ज्या ज्या वेळेस चेंज होतं ते काय करते, मर्क्युसूरच्या धोरणांना अनुकूल स्वतःचं धोरण ठेवत नाहीये. याचं उत्कृष्ट उदाहरण व्हेनेझुएलाचं घेण्यात आलं की व्हेनेझुएला या देशाने मर्क्युसूर संघटनेची स्थापना करण्यात मदत तर केली, पण नंतरच्या काळामध्ये व्हेनेझुएलाची धोरणं आणि मर्क्युसूरची धोरणं ही मॅच होत नव्हती. परिणामी 2016 मध्ये मर्क्युसूरनं व्हेनेझुएलाचं सदस्यत्व रद्द केलं. तिसरा मुद्दा जो आहे तो आहे ट्रेड बॅरियरचा. ट्रेड बॅरियर संदर्भात असं सांगितलं जातं की उदाहरणार्थ जसं भारत आणि पाकिस्तान यांच्यामध्ये संबंध जरी वितुष्ट असलं तरी भारतातून काही गोष्टींचा एक्सपोर्ट पाकिस्तानला जो होतो किंवा पाकिस्तानमधून भारतात काही गोष्टींचा एक्सपोर्ट होतो, त्या बाबतीमध्ये त्या दोन्ही देशांचं अस्तित्व टिकून आहे. अशा वेळेस भारताकडून उदाहरणार्थ जर समजा टोमॅटो पाकिस्तानला जातोय, जर तो त्याच्यावर जास्त प्रमाणामध्ये टॅक्स लादला गेला, पाकिस्तान गव्हर्नमेंटने भारतातल्या टोमॅटोवर जास्त टॅक्स लावला, तर भारतातला टोमॅटो पाकिस्तानमध्ये जाणार कसा? किंवा पाकिस्तान मधून येणारा बटाटा जो आहे त्या बटाट्यावरती जर समजा जास्त प्रमाणामध्ये कर लादले गेले तर भारतामध्ये पाकिस्तानचा बटाटा येणार कसा? हा जो टॅरिफ किंवा जकातावरचा जो बॅरियर आहे, हा बॅरियर किंवा हे प्रोटेक्शनिझम जे आहे, आपल्या बाजारपेठेतल्या उत्पादनाला प्रोटेक्ट करणे आणि बाहेरच्या बाजारपेठेतला माल येऊ न देणे, याला आपण प्रोटेक्शनिझम म्हणतो. ह्याच्यामुळे काय झालंय की मर्क्युसूर मध्ये सुद्धा त्या त्या देशांचा विकास होणं शक्य झालेलं नाही. प्रत्येक देश आपल्या व्यापाराची बंधनं शिथिल करायला तयार नाहीये. त्याचे व्यक्तिगत इंटरेस्ट किंवा राष्ट्रीय हितसंबंध त्यांचे त्यांचे आहेत त्याच्यामध्ये. त्याचप्रमाणे मर्क्युसूर एक संघटना म्हणून यशस्वी न ठरण्यामागचं पुढचं जे कारण सांगितलं जातं की या संघटनेमध्ये डिसिजन मेकिंग पॉवर किंवा या संघटनेची इन्स्टिट्यूशन जी आहे, संस्था जी आहे, रचना जी आहे, ती इफेक्टिव्ह नाहीये. त्या डिसिजन मेकिंग मध्ये अनेक सारे दोष आहेत. या निर्णय प्रक्रियेमध्ये अनेकदा दिरंगाई केली जाते. याच्यामुळे काय होईल की संघटना पटपट पटपट पुढे जाऊ शकलेली नाहीये, तिची प्रगती होऊ शकलेली नाहीये. याशिवाय मर्क्युसूर मध्ये व्यापारी स्वरूपाचे जे संबंध आहेत हे पुढे सरकू शकले नाही, आणि व्यापारी संबंध पुढे न सरकू शकल्यामुळे आर्थिक ऐक्यासोबत, ज्याला आपण इकॉनॉमिक इंटिग्रेशन म्हटलं, इकॉनॉमिक इंटिग्रेशन सोबत पॉलिटिकल इंटिग्रेशन, म्हणजे एक अशी संघटना जी राजकीय पर्पज साठी पण एकत्र आली आहे, जी आर्थिक कारणासाठी पण एकत्र आली आहे, अशी संघटना ज्याला आपण पॉलिटिकल इंटिग्रेशन म्हटलंय, ती पॉलिटिकल इंटिग्रेशन म्हणून स्थापन होऊ शकलेली नाही. जसं युरोपियन युनियन मध्ये होऊ शकलं की युरोपियन युनियन मध्ये कुठल्या देशाच्या राजकीय धोरणांचा सदस्य देशांपैकी कुठल्याही देशाचे राजकीय धोरण हे युरोपियन युनियनला मिळतं जुळतं असतं, तसं इथे होऊ शकलेलं नाहीये. याचं कारण असं होतं की सुरुवातीला व्यापार, गुंतवणूक आणि इतर आर्थिक पर्पज जे तेच पूर्ण झालेले नाही. ह्या सगळ्या दोषांमुळे मर्क्युसूर संघटना ही अजूनही पाहिजे तेवढी प्रगती करू शकलेली नाहीये. तर मला असं वाटतं की मी माझ्या पद्धतीने त्यातल्या दोषांची चर्चा करू शकलोय. आणखी काय असेल तर सांगा.
थँक्यू सो मच.
ओके, वेलकम. मला असं वाटतं आपण थांबूया तिथे.
हो सर, चालेल. थँक्यू.
ओके, थँक्यू. तुम्हाला व्हिडिओ शेअर करतो नंतर.